Singapore Prime Minister Loong and Chinese President Xi Jinping have agreed to upgrade bilateral relations that reflect the country's commitment to continually expand bilateral cooperation. They will pursue new collaboration in areas such as digital and green economies. The two leaders met earlier at the Great Hall of the People. It's among a series of sit-downs Mr. Li had with multiple Chinese leaders in Beijing today. Olivia Hsien tells us what both sides had to say about ties.
Both leaders hailing the good ties between the two countries and also, importantly, talking about cooperation moving forward following the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this trip is significant for several reasons. This is the first time that the Singapore Prime Minister is visiting China since the COVID-19 pandemic struck. Also, after China lifted its strict COVID-19 prevention measures at the end of last year. Now, during their sit-down, Mr. Li told the Chinese president that he's particularly glad that he has seen that life in the country is returning to normal, but he did add that the last few years of the pandemic have been difficult for everyone. But he said that because of Singapore and China's deep understanding and strong friendship that has been built up over the years, that both sides have seen their bilateral relationship grow closer together. However, he said that this is a good time to look ahead and work together and take the partnership forward. Now, also timely as this visit is taking place just shortly after China completed a 5-yearly reshuffle of its top leadership. Also, the first time that the two leaders are meeting since Mr. Xi secured that unprecedented third term as China's president at the recently concluded annual parliamentary meetings held here in Beijing. Now, this is what Mr. Li had to say about cooperation moving forward.
China has a new leadership team in place. It's laid out its vision and long-term goals for the next stage of development. And I'm happy to read of China's emphasis on economic growth and resilience. I'm confident that the economy will continue to strengthen. Many countries, including Singapore, are very keen to enhance our economic ties with China, and I hope that my visit will inject fresh momentum for bilateral cooperation and high-level exchanges between us.
中心是重要的合作伙伴，我们的合作呢是展现了前瞻性、战略性、示范性，有力的推动了两国各自发展振兴，而且为地区国家树立了一个标杆，有一个示范作用。我愿意同总理先生能够继续深入擘画两国关系发展的蓝图。
Prime Minister Hsien says bilateral ties between Singapore and China have strengthened in the last few years, with cooperation projects thriving as well. Mr. Li made these comments as he met the new head of China's legislature, Zhao Leji, in Beijing today, as part of a 6-day visit to the country.
During the 20th Party Congress in Lianghui, China has set out many important and forward-looking priorities, and our strong bilateral ties, which we shall be upgrading on my visit, provide a strong foundation for us to advance our cooperation further.
Speaking on the 3 government-to-government projects between the two countries, Mr. Li says the Suzhou Industrial Park has evolved from a model for industrial development into a hub for high-tech innovation and emerging industries like biochemicals and biomedicals. The Tianjin Eco-City also marks its 15th anniversary this year, and officials are refreshing the scope of collaboration to focus on low-carbon growth. As for the Chongqing Connectivity Initiative, Mr. Li says the international land-sea trade corridor has served as an important supply chain for the region, especially during the pandemic. On his part, Mr. Chow says Singapore-China relations have set an example for high-quality cooperation between the two countries. PM Li is among the first batch of world leaders to visit China following the country's annual parliamentary meetings earlier this month. The session saw Mr. Chow elected as chairman of China's legislature, the National People's Congress, as part of a 5-yearly personnel reshuffle. The former party anti-corruption chief says Mr. Lee's visit fully reflects the importance placed on bilateral ties. The two leaders are familiar with each other, with both calling each other, quote, old friends. They last met in 2017 when Mr. Chow was in Singapore to attend the Singapore-China Leadership Forum.
中方愿同新方一道落实好两国高层共识，谱写中新合作新篇章，推动双边关系取得新的更大发展。
PM Lee also met Wang Huning, who was elected the head of China's top political advisory body earlier this month, after moving up to the 4th rank in the Communist Party hierarchy. Mr. Lee says Singapore has worked well with successive Chinese leaders over many years, and Singapore's leadership, both old and new, are ready to work with China to continue to strengthen bilateral relations, which Mr. Lee described as deep and strong. He adds that these will continue to deepen and broaden, as they always have, even under difficult conditions during the COVID-19 pandemic.